Everyday Alpha Podcast, the Everyday Alpha Podcast. I'm Christian. The Everyday After Podcast. I'm Christian. Hey, it's Christian at the Everyday Alpha Podcast. Hey, it's Christian. The Everyday Alpha Podcast is today. Hey, it's Christian. The Everyday Alpha Podcast is today. Good afternoon. It's June 27th. Good afternoon. It's June 27th. Get ready for the Everyday Alpha Podcast. Good afternoon. It's June 27th. Get ready for the Everyday Alpha Podcast. All of this sucks. What the fuck? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Everyday Alpha Podcast. I'm Christian, soon to be joined by my co host, Ryan. Today, we are going to talk about a whole bunch of random stuff. Looking forward to having him on. We got a couple of nice topics: life, being a male, relationships, raising kids. Got some stories to talk about. Got some issues we're gonna walk through. It's gonna be fun. We're looking forward to it. Right about there. The Everyday Alpha Podcast. How to be an alpha on the Everyday Alpha Podcast. Who do we talk to? What do we talk about? I got an MMA fighter just dying to tell a cool story. I got an integrated health physician, doctor of osteopath, dying to tell some kick ass stories about how we're helping people, how we're healing people. Big update. I've made a big change in my career. I'm actually doing consultative healthcare and healthcare delivery in an integrative health medicine facility. We are curing people. We're not treating people. It's not the let's just keep kicking the can down the road. It's let's fix you. And that's what I'm doing now. It's the most rewarding healthcare that I've delivered with the highest level of conversations I've ever had with men and women. So it's pretty exciting what I'm doing. Here comes my co-host, Ryan Herzog. He's about to jump in here. Should get like a drum roll or something. Can't get his video working. He can't get his audio working, but he'll come around.
Heidi ho!
Heidi ho! I still think you have a better background than me. I'm jealous. I have background envy.
I do, and you should.
You earned that.
I earn this shit. And I get yelled at weekly for that badass plant that my wife wants back upstairs.
She just needs to let it go because it's fake.
She's not letting it go. We are fake plant people. If it was real, she wouldn't be mad. So I need to figure something out because
Wait,
I'm
if it was real, she wouldn't be mad. That's interesting.
no, she loves the fake plants. That's her thing. And this is the plant that has disappeared from the living room and she knows where it's at. And I'm surprised she hasn't come down here and
Just taking it.
yeah. Hey, give me one quick second. I'm gonna go top off on some tea for the tea party.
Okay, sounds cool.
You got any tea over there?
I do not have any tea for our tea party.
Come on.
Come on. I have plant envy. Ryan has a better plant. I have a gray background. He's got cool concrete with a interesting artwork, and I have a gray curtain background. I need to up my effing background game. I tried plants. Randy made fun of me, told me to go back to Hobby Lobby and grow up. So I removed my plants. So I got to figure this out. I don't know. We'll figure it out one of these days. Yeah, joining us at the Everyday Alpha podcast, doing a little tea party. spilling the tea, talking about whatever we want to talk about. Today's one of those days, just kind of doing a download load, chatting about where we've been, where we're going to be going. We're hoping to have Randy on today. He might get an opportunity to jump in, but we got some really cool sizzle reel going on. A lot of our guests that have past guests, they're going to get an opportunity to possibly see the sizzle reel. We'll see. Yeah, I'm excited about what we're doing here at the Everyday Alpha podcast. There he is.
Back in the saddle.
So I'm going to show you something. Can you read that?
It's a little blurry. Oh, there it comes. Oh, look at you, big dog.
Big dog in it. Thank you very much. Found out today. Just happened to, because they don't notify you. So I just happened to log into my bank account and I was like, wait, what? Right. And so I went to my VA site and there it was.
Congrats, brother. You've earned it. You deserve it. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Pretty excited about it. It took some work. It took some heavy lifting and some dealing, but 100% disabled.
Okay, man. So you gotta there's some thing I'm sure you already know, but there's some things that you need to make sure you're setting up and preparing for, applying for, all that good stuff. There's a great YouTube video that tells you, gosh, what is his name? He's a Marine and he does all the disabled vet videos on YouTube. Have you seen him?
I have not.
Here,
I'll look at.
let me do this because I don't want to forget it and I want you to have this. Yeah, this guy's fabulous. Um, what is his name? Come on. This YouTuber, oh, here he is. It's called the Sit Rep.
Sit Rep, all right.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sit Rep. Today we are discussing whether
cool.
His name is Paul Corbet.
VA disability is able to work.
Oh,
but before we dive into the details, do us a favor.
So this, the one you want to find is like it's titled something about 100% disabled vets full package benefits or something. All the 14 different things. Make sure you go on there because there's some that like most people don't really think about. I mean, even dental, right? A lot of people don't think about dental. And now with Castle Rock, whether they have dental or not, I don't know. But I mean, you have free dental. So you got to take advantage of some of that stuff.
Right. I got free dental. Maybe I'll have like free foot and ankle care.
We can probably figure that out. Hey, and then you need to look into Rebecca's college with the 5, whatever that letter number is.
Yep, I got to look at that and see what we can do. Maybe we can get some retroactive on that. There's a lot of retroactive that's happening right now, which is kind of blew me away. Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I just, like I said, found out today.
It's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a good day, right? I mean, it's going to be a good day. And let me tell you something. Had like a little bit of a job epiphany happened this week. So, I've been kind of lukewarm on the big picture of what I'm doing at this integrative health place that I work at now. But our ICU nurse, she's on vacation, and she runs the office medically. Obviously for the care delivery, Docs does some stuff, but Kristen, our nurse, she's pretty much our clinical operations manager. She's an ICU nurse, and so with that comes this whole swath of ability, knowledge base, skill sets, etc. I support her the best that I can with my rusty healthcare skill sets that haven't been in play for a long time, like at that level, right? I used to do ICU level care. I forget, right? You don't do it for 18 years, 20 years, you get rusty.
Right.
So she goes out of town and we do a therapy at our office called EBOO, EBOO, extracorporeal ozone and oxygenation, right? And it's basically a filtration of your blood. So you start a couple of IVs in both arms, you suck blood out, you run it through some UV lighting, you run it into the machine, you filter that blood, you add in ozone, and then you redeliver that blood back into the person's body. The course of an EBOO session, you're going to filter out about a third of your blood volume versus like dialysis, you can do three-quarters up to all of it, depending on your level of dialysis needs. And so we're not dealing with hyper sick dialysis patients. But the point I'm making is a lot of the clients that I've been seeing over the last 6 weeks are older. They don't have good veins. They're not healthy people. And so it ends up being kind of like an ICU patient when you start these lines and you're monitoring the machine and you're monitoring them and you're checking vital signs and you do all this stuff. So long story short, back in the day, I used to teach physicians how to gain venous access in the leg with an ultrasound, which is a hard skill to learn, right? And I would teach these physicians how to do it, and then they would take it from there. Mm-hmm. It's a skill set that I have, but again, it's rusty. Well, Kristen goes out of town, and now all of a sudden I've got, this whole week, I mean, I've had 3 and 4 patients every single day, and most of them are not an easy IV start. Ooh. So I'm kind of like, fuck, I've got to grab this ultrasound, which I haven't really touched since I've been there. And I just kind of have to go, fuck it, let's go. And so I've had 3 ultrasound guided IVs with the first stick, nailed it. And, got it in there, did the therapies. The patient was so geeked out because they're all like, I'm a hard stick and I was stuck 22 times before, and they give you all these sob stories. And I just kind of like, hey, well, let's just see what we can do today, right? And get them with the first stick, get the therapies done. And the feedback and the positivity and the happiness that I'm now rediscovering when you give service to people, right? When I'm giving that level of care and that person reciprocates with a smile, with a thank you, with a, oh my gosh, you have no idea how much this therapy has changed my life. And being reinserted into that has been such a wonderful experience for me, because deep down, that is why I got into healthcare. That's what I always loved about, whether it was trauma delivery, ICU delivery, basic, just general healthcare, whatever it was I did when I worked at the VA back in the day, doing sleep studies, doing pulmonary function testing. Even my work at the medical man cave, you're still changing lives. And I got away from it by doing, a long career of medical sales and then, getting small opportunities to dabble. Well, it was like the ice bucket challenge. Here you go, Christian. Here's a whole bunch of medical stuff. Can you still do it? And it was like, yeah, I was able to do it. So I had a great week. And today, having this day off, being able to chat with you, the good news that I got this morning, I'm in a good headspace. I haven't been here for a long time.
That's awesome. I love this. So how much of that is self-created?
I mean, all of it. All of it. It's 100% self-created. I put the work in, right? Put the work in back in 1992 when I decided to be a combat medic, right? Didn't know anything about that. You put that work in, you put that experience in, and then you just keep building and building and building on it. You never really know where life's going to take you, but it's all self-created. You can't sit back and go, hey, I got lucky. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in luck. I believe in you self-manifest things. And people can say you pray about it. People can say, you mentally manifest things into being. However you want to say it, it's the work. You put in the work and you stay focused and you stay positive. So that's how I feel about that. That's how I answer that question.
That's a good answer. I think that people, going back to what you just said about luck, about hopeful for something to fall onto your plate, people oftentimes are in that headspace. That's where they live, in this place where they're just waiting for something good. They're in a negative hole. They're just in a bad life pit stop or season, or this is their normal, right? This is their
or,
operating
or their
like
culture. It's their
yeah.
culture.
Yeah, and then they want these things to happen. They become a victim. They're mad that they're the victim. I don't know. That's why when you said that, you know, I was curious what you were going to answer to that question because I haven't heard you talk like that in a while, right?
Right.
So it's almost a challenge for all of us, but a challenge for you in that you got to be a part of the creation of what you just said is today for you,
Yeah, that's
right?
correct.
Like if you really break that down, if you really kind of step back and say, hey, I put in the legwork and it wasn't yesterday and it wasn't a month ago, but we have to remind ourselves that we're not just doing and investing for what maybe will come our way tomorrow or what might happen to us next week. And I think the impatience that has flooded our society
Agreed.
of like, I want this now. Like,
Right.
I want to raise now. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of people that either they want it now or they think that they deserve it now, but they've never done the work. They haven't created any of this underlying foundation for something like today for you. I mean, I've been through the disability process. It is not fun. I had
No.
to take off many days that I know you did too, many
Yeah.
days of work to show up to some appointment in some random location. So I got there an hour early because I didn't want to be late and I sat there for 20 minutes. But, I mean, just the time and the effort and the energy that went into that process. For me, Christian, I started that process in 2007. I
Wow.
started my disability process and it took until 2017. For those good with math, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years that I spent navigating a journey of, and I would never say that I deserved it, but my body was broken from my service,
Yeah.
right? And so, why do I have to spend 10 years going through all of these hoops and these red tape and these people that are going, nah, that's not from the service? And it's like, what? But then the day comes when you go, man, like this is a good day. Like now I feel rewarded. I feel as if, and I'm sure you feel this way, as if that time spent, those years, that energy, that commitment, that stick to itiveness to that task, that single process or that single job. And I didn't give up until the end because I knew what was right, just like you. You knew what
Right.
was right. And too many people, they either quit when it gets hard or they don't know where to go. So they stop. They don't use their resources. They don't become resourceful. And it's disgusting. It's like if you're going to be that way, then be okay with what happens. But then don't bitch about it later because you quit and you didn't get what you thought you deserved.
Right. In society in American culture, there's all kinds of ways you can say this. There are leaders, there are followers, and then there are people who don't know. They just don't know who they are. They don't know what they are. And they don't know what they are because of what we're talking about here. They haven't picked a path, been okay with that path, walked that path, and lived within that realm of, hey, I'm still doing the things that I want to be doing. I'm going to build on it. I'm proud. And another door might open over here that's a little bit different from my path. And I feel good about stepping through that and going down that direction. And those kind of people are the scariest kind of people out there because they come into something, they manifest into when they become an adult. Maybe they went to college and they got a degree in something, whatever, right? And then now they're out of college and they don't know what to do. And maybe they engaged in a relationship and then maybe they got married and then maybe they had a kid. And still they sit there at maybe 35 years old or 40 years old and go, God, I really wish I could have, or I really wish that I had. And they live in this world of I wish and hope. And wishing and hope is not a strategy for anything unless you're in politics. That's the only place that that's a strategy. Hope and change. Let's hope
Right.
for some change. Okay, well, you can hope in one hand and take a shit in the other one. Which one's going to get filled first? So, um, so I I'm another thing I'm going to share with you about. And I was talking to who was I talking to? My son. I picked him up last night from work because his car got totaled out from him when the guy broke in and tried to steal it. And I was telling him that the doctor that I'm working for, I've been there 7 weeks now, and the doctor that I'm working for, he basically just flat came out and he says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to do a really aggressive integrative health brain program. It's going to consist of gyrostim. It's going to consist of IASIS. Which is microcurrent delivery to the brain. It's going to consist of intranasal plasma and PRP delivery. It's going to consist of EBU and ozone therapy, and it's going to consist of a lot of things, and it's going to be really comprehensive, and it's going to be something that you can't find really anywhere else." And he was going through it all with me. I did my own little research after he approached me, but he goes, "Listen, I want you to run it." He says, "I want you to run it. I want you to start building it out." And he goes, "You and I together, we'll talk about the structure, and we'll put this into kind of a project management, style project." And he says, "I want to launch this thing January of 26." He says, "I want this thing to be something that people are flying in from all over the place to get in a hotel room and stay in Colorado for 30 days and go through this brain process to help people with traumatic brain injuries, with stroke sufferers, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, depression, anxiety, veterans, moms, dads, kids, autistic children, etc. There's so many places we can go with this brain program." And he just came to me and he says, "I want you to run it." Of course, my background has never been really hard neurology, right? I'm a generalist when it comes to knowing healthcare, knowing the human body. It's easy for me to learn things because I've worked so long to establish a baseline of knowledge. So anytime somebody says, "Hey, I want you to learn this," it's not hard for me to do, right? And so I was initially like, okay, but now I've kind of chewed on it. I've done some training. I got certified on a couple of these therapies, and now I'm kind of like, never knew this opportunity was going to show up, but there it is. There's the opportunity because I put that work in, and you just don't know, Ryan, when a door is going to open up. You just don't. And so I'm walking through that door, and that will probably manifest into possibly even having a facility down here in Douglas County, partnering with a couple of lawyers, which are down in Monument. I've also got a foundation that's all about a mental health and people coming out of prison and helping them with fitness and helping them with focus and life, needs, etc. Obviously, these MMA fighters take a lot of blows to the face, and so helping them with recovery. So it's all kind of like this spider web, right? And you play the strings of the spider web to get it to where you're finding something that I truly believe that my reasoning for being here and living this life is to give service. And it's service, whether it's in healthcare, that's still giving of service. My military service was just that: service to my family, service to my friends, service to my kids. And I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get a medal. And I don't do it so I can say, "Hey, everybody pat me on the back. Look what I did." That's not why I do it. I do it because I love to do it. I love to see the impact that I can have in people's lives. That's my reward. That's my win. Right. And so I should shut up. I should let you talk, but I'm
No,
just
this is
really
great,
geeked
man.
out about some of these opportunities.
I mean, let me ask you this. What I'm hearing you say is you're discovering, maybe rediscovering or re-identifying your purpose, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's so interesting. You know, as you know, I work with executives as one of those three demographics with my business. And for some reason, let me step back. So I've got the athletes, I've got the military, and I've got the executives. And purpose is a message that it's a topic we talk about all the time, right? I mean, really at the end of the day, I don't care if I've got a new MLB pitcher, and I don't care if you're pitching or if you're, a special ops military guy that's going in for a mish, or you're an executive who's, running a multi-million dollar business and you got to make a big decision about something. Like, our purpose deep down in the core, I believe, allows us to pursue what we're doing with a better attitude, with more
Right.
energy, with focus, with passion. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Like, I know it sounds goofy to say that, but I see this with all of my clients, that when they lack purpose, and sometimes it's right in front of their face.
Yeah,
And I don't
absolutely.
know what it is, right? I don't know if it's this denial. I don't know if it's they don't know, right? There's two people in the world, those that are lost and those that know they're lost.
Yeah,
And
right,
so,
right.
like, maybe they just don't know. Maybe they don't see it. And guiding people through that has been one of the biggest joys in my professional space. I've got a guy coming today right after this call for 5 hours, and he comes to the ranch every 3 to 4 months, and that's his retreat. I work with him in between, but then we do this big, massive half day retreat one on one at the ranch. And he sent me an email last night, and it's a 42-year-old individual. He's got 3 kids, happily married, but he's grinding, and there's not much grind left for him to do because he's running himself into a dead end.
Yeah.
And this guy writes language with his email, and it's funny to me because one of the biggest things we're going to talk about today, this afternoon, is purpose. And I know he's missing it. I know he doesn't see it, and I'm not sure why, but we're going to dig into that because I think for him, he's running so hard in this direction. He's a really, really successful financial advisor, and he makes great money, and he's on track to be a successor of an entire team that is one of the top, I believe, 4 or 5 teams in the nation for UBS.
I think
Okay.
you've shared this guy's story with me before.
I think I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, when he finds his purpose and he identifies it, he's going to feel like you do today.
Yeah.
He's going to have one of those moments and that epiphany, and he's going to probably remember that day for the rest of his life. And it could change the trajectory of his path in who knows what ways, but it's going to affect him, and it's going to be a magical moment. And when you talk about your service and your purpose, you know, I have a question for you, but I think that, on the receiving end of what you just said to me, if you would have told me that 15 years ago, it would have been obvious. Like, I see it, I hear it, I sense it, I feel it, right? Like, it's there. Yet, why do we travel through these seasons of life and take these roads and navigate into uncharted territory and start to question it, and then start different professional tracks or have personal, conflicts or challenges and get knocked off, and then find ourselves away from the purpose, lost, once
Right.
again, wondering, right? Like, I see this, adults go through this. And so, with all that being said, my question to you is, you rediscovered, re-identified, or maybe identified, I wouldn't imagine for the first time, but at any other point in your life, did you feel this purpose of service like you do right now, and like you've just recently discovered with your story today?
Yeah. I will share with you that there's been many times through my adult life where I have come home from a day or a week at the job. When I first started working emergency and trauma back when I was in my mid 20s in St. Louis. And, you spend 4 or 5 12-hour shifts in a row. it's, you're working all day, you come home, you're wiped out, you go to bed, rinse and repeat. And then you get to the end of that run of shifts, and you've got maybe 3 or 4 days off, and you sit there and you go, the impact that I made on people's lives, um, the camaraderie that we had as the team, the trauma team, the other nurses, the other therapists. When you get a chance to sit down and go, we gave service. I mean, we helped these human beings continue living their lives. I felt that then. I felt that a little bit in the military, but I didn't really understand of what my impact really was until I was out. And I think that might be a commonality for a lot of guys. I don't know. And one of the last episodes we had when we had the two military guys on, we kind of hit on this a little bit, where when you look back, nobody ever complains about anything when you're talking about looking back on military service. We only talk about, in super hyper positive ways, what was so great: the suffering, the suffering together, the living together, the doing the same things together with your brother or your sister right next to you, right? And so I felt what you're talking about, what I'm feeling today. I felt that then. I felt it. I never really felt it in my career in medical sales. I had a lot of good times and a lot of good days, met a lot of good people, made a lot of really wonderful lifelong friends that I still reach out to, and I keep the relationship going. So that's just part of who I am. I felt it a little bit at my last gig at the Medical Man Cave. We were really helping men out, and I really felt that level of accomplishment periodically with that. But where I am today is, it's just, it's a new level. It's a new one, and it's nice to have it in the beginning of a new chapter. That's I guess really the point is keeping the doors open. You never know where you're going to go. You never know how you're going to step through one. But if you stay positive and keep moving forward and keep working forward, and not allowing the crap in the background, right? So many people allow the crap in the background. I'm fighting with my wife, or my boss is an asshole, or I didn't, my car is wrecked and I don't know. I mean, all these little things, people allow that stuff to come into the forefront. And when it becomes in the forefront, it consumes how you see yourself in the moment, in the day, in the week, versus I just push all that shit behind me. I really do. And I didn't used to be able to do that. And I mean, why can I do it now at age 50 plus? I think the main reason why is my kids are gone.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I go, I, I, I did a good job. And they still come back and talk to me, and they engage, and we engage at a higher adult level now. And it's positive, and it's reaffirming. And, conversations that I have with people who have younger kids who are asking, hey, how did you do it? Or what would you do? Or did you deal with this or whatever? It's like I have perspective now, and I'm able to share that perspective in a manner that's like, well, hey, this is what we tried, and this is what worked, and this is what didn't work. And, try in your manner how you would want to do that. But I think having those adult kids have allowed me to kind of go, you know what? That was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, was prepare them for the road. And they're walking the road in their own manner. And so I don't worry about as much stuff as I used to. And that, not everybody gets to do that. And not everybody does that when their kids move on either, or when they get to that level. So, but for me, that's been a really, really cathartic, helpful process.
It's so funny that you're talking about this piece and your kid's gone and people reaching out to you to ask you advice. What did you do? How did you handle this? Right before this call, I had a call with one of my military clients, and it was a different call. We normally have either a mental performance call or check in with the strength and conditioning program they're following, and this was with one of my longest standing clients. So I started with this individual in 2007. Got to work with him at a very young age. I believe he was 12 or 13 when I started with him, and
Wow.
started strength and conditioning, worked my way into strength and conditioning with a little dabble into the mental performance and personality development. Uh, Comes from a great family, hardworking parents, both entrepreneurs, business owners. And I just continued the journey with him. And he ended up going playing hockey for a great junior team, ended up getting picked up by Air Force, played at Air Force for 4 years, was the captain on the Air Force hockey team.
At the
And
academy?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then get a call from him senior year, and he says, "Hey, Hers, I wanna chat about special ops." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do. I've
Yes,
been
you
waiting for
do.
this call, big boy." And
Yeah.
um, so he went the path, man, and he went down that road.
There he is. Randy.
Hey guys, I don't mean to cut you off. I want to this sounds good. I like your haircut, by the way.
Thanks, buddy. Wife was like, "Your mop needs off." It was getting out of control.
It looks great. It looks cleaned up. It looks just very polished and elegant. Good look on you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So he and I navigated. He was a hard charger. I mean, this kid reminded me a lot of myself, and he just never quit attitude, so much lethality behind his passion and his heart and what he
Yeah.
did. And again, I knew this was his journey. He either didn't know, or it just took him time to get there. So anyway, so I worked with him for about a year and a half, training him up, getting him ready mentally, physically, emotionally for the special operations world. And then got to be a part of that journey where his pipeline, about a year and a half of getting your what kicked in every single day, and setbacks, and being a part of phone calls where he was emotionally in tears because he was either struggling or things weren't going his way, and all the way through graduation. And my call this morning, he just had a baby boy like 3 days ago.
Oh, nice.
So it was so cool to have this transitional conversation from, you know, over the years, right? Over 15 plus years, almost 20 years of strength and conditioning, mental, special operations path, guiding him. Then he gets married, and now, he's calling, and had an unbelievable conversation with him. Same as you just said, going, "Hey, like, what can you throw me? What books can you send me? What
Right.
podcasts can you
Right.
send?" Like, he's so eager to be just an incredible dad, and I'm so excited for him. But it's so neat to see what the engagement of our professional relationship has done, and now to be a resource in whatever way I can be for him. It feels good, right, when those individuals reach out to you like, "Hey, I got my kid doing this, like, what did you do?"
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's no words that can really describe that feeling. But it's a massive part, going back to being in a position to provide a service like you do or like I do, that it's not sometimes just for today or tomorrow. This is for multiple years, decades, seasons of life, and now potentially generational. And it's super powerful, so
Well,
impactful.
and to the point you're making, the generational side, that's the culture that I've brought, and the culture that you bring to how you live your life, right? We have culture in America, right? And culture is different. One person's culture is another person's trash, to be honest, right? But you bring your culture, I bring my culture. He's going to take and bring his culture into that new baby, right? And we ask for advice, and we ask people that we trust, or people that we see, we perceive as having success. We ask them for perspective, and then you take and you roll that into your perspective. I'm going to share something with you now that Randy's on. So Ryan, my daughter Rebecca, and she's worked for you and your wife at the office, and
Yep.
she's a senior out at her university in Grand Junction, Mesa University, and she's pre-med, so she's doing a lot of really heavy, hard science classes, chemistry classes, microbiology, physics, all that crap, right? and she is grinding, grinding, grinding. Well, she got herself a job at a blood plasma center,
Mm.
making $15 an hour, right? And she's working up to be what's called a DST. Don't ask me what DST stands for, but it's the person who's actually sticking the needle in the arm and drawing the blood and making the plasma. So she's like a DST support member. Well, yesterday she was given some blood to put into the centrifuge to spin, right? And there's a process that you have to go through to put blood in the centrifuge. And I don't know if she made this error, or I don't know if she was tasked to clean up this error, but she sends me a picture, a before and after picture of this centrifuge, clean, and then a centrifuge after it's been exploded with a client's blood all over the place. And she basically says in her text message, I'm going to read it. She gives the pictures, and then she says, I was tasked with cleaning this out. Crap, where is it? Here we go. She says, I was tasked with cleaning this out. And she says, quote, all the moments of you making me clean the bathroom to inspection prepared levels got me ready for this moment. And she gave like a big thumbs up. And I think about, how when my kids were of the age of accountability, right? 7, 8 years old, every Saturday we did field day. And I'd tell them, you got to clean the bathroom or you got to clean your bedroom. And they'd clean it. And then I'd walk in and I'd find one thing that was wrong. And I'd be like, fail, clean it again. And they'd get all pissed off and they'd argue with each other. And you could hear them up there just arguing with each other. You didn't do your part. You didn't do your part. And they're like, all right, Dad, come up and check it again. We cleaned what you, and I'd walk in and I'd look, and I just walk in. I'd be like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it ain't clean. So freaking figure it out and get it done. And I'd walk down the stairs and you could hear them just arguing with each other, right? Squabbling. And then, 20 minutes later, okay, come up and inspect, please. We really, really worked hard. And I would literally walk up and I'd look into the bathroom and I'd go, guys, this looks amazing. Good job. And I'd walk out, right? But even if they would have cleaned it perfectly the first time, it ain't right. You have to understand and go through that discipline, that consistency. And to have my 21-year-old daughter say, all the moments led me to this day. And then she shows a picture of it cleaned up and it's like perfectly clean. I was like, see,
Hell
put them
yeah.
on the road, prepare them for the road. Which one do you choose?
But the thing is, that's our job.
That is our job.
That's our job.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's so many parents out there that, and this is like, I'm a broken record, but they want to be a friend, or they feel sorry and they want to slack. What good is that doing your kid? What good are you as a parent?
Yeah.
You know?
And you lose the opportunity for a teaching bonding moment, because as frustrated as they were with me telling them they got to do it again, the third time when I went up there, it was like, guys, this looks really good. All of a sudden, I've just re-empowered my children who just worked a little bit harder. Maybe they found one little thing, but now I've re-empowered them and they feel so good about themselves. We bonded right then and there. And adult parents lose sight of that opportunity to provide some adversity and then to be the one to then help re-empower, because these kids don't know what they don't know. And we have to put them on that path.
Right. And it's also so easy, and we all know this, to do a half-ass job.
Right.
I go back to, and I tell my kids this all the time. I remember I worked at a grocery store for like 7 years, from the age of 13, and I did everything from cleaning the meat department to cashier, night stalker, everything. And I remember every night I had to sweep the entire store, sweep and mop the entire store. And it was a pain in the ass. It was like the worst thing ever, going down the aisles. And I remember initially just doing a half-ass job, you
Yeah.
know, and then thinking, what good are you? They asked you to do a job, do it right. So in my mind, I became extra efficient with the broom and the mop and the this. And it was like my goal to make it as pristine as possible. But taking that work ethic and incorporating it into everything we do, just like your daughter, you really, taught both your kids to be extra diligent and not just do the job. go beyond that.
Yep,
And
that's
I think
right.
it's important for us to all realize, and people out there, to take that extra time and be patient and do a really good job.
And
But
and you learn through failure as much as you learn through success. Success puts you on a road of, I'm always succeeding, I'm always succeeding. So then when you do fail or you perceive failure, how do you deal with it? Versus if you're trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing, and then you have success, that success is that much more meaningful as long as you stay after it. But we have a society where success is all you can do. Just succeed, succeed, succeed. No, 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 no. We need to start relooking at things, and we need more diverse adversity is what we need more of in all stages of our lives. Randy, you can listen to this podcast and you'll listen to what Ryan and I were talking about before you jumped on, and we were talking about a little bit of this, and
real
it's
quick,
it's
sorry to interrupt.
profound.
Sorry, real quick. Ryan,
Yep.
you look like you're going to kill someone. You literally look like you are scowling.
He's ready.
Always ready. Readiness.
I didn't
That's
mean to
right.
cut you off, but listen, guys, I wanted to so I'm working with this woman, Carol, and she just sent me a draft of the sizzle. You know, we're almost there. We just need a couple more tweaks. Um, she when we introduced the guests, the initial hero shot at the beginning, where we list their name and what they do, it looks like these guys are monsters, all of them, especially Mr. Pepsi Can, Pepsi Cola Can.
Yeah.
It's like he's just so scary looking. And then the fonts are off, and it needs to be a little bit quicker with more images of the two of you. But if you have time, I'd love to show you what I have,
Yeah.
and just please view it with grace if you have time. Do you have time right now? Okay.
Yep. Make it happen.
Just and and I talked to Christian about the opening, sorry.
Nice to meet you, Christian.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you right. Tell me, can you see that?
Yes.
Ryan, can you see that?
Good to go.
Okay. So okay, so it's right there. Okay. Yeah, so
You're gonna have to pick it up and move it a little bit to your left.
Nice to meet
Other
you.
other left. Other left.
I like
A little
that
more.
over your shoulder. It peeks out every once in a while. All my clients enjoy.
You put something on there about the cock, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the
Okay.
best. It's our best opening, I think.
can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah, we can see. You got to go to your right. You got to move it to your right. There you go, right there, and then just flatten it out a little more. There's a big
my
shine
left.
from your window on it. Perfect.
Nice to meet you, Christian. You too, Ryan. I like that big over your shoulder. It peeks out every once in a while. All my clients enjoy calls with me and my. Welcome to the Everyday Alpha Podcast. No fluff, no filters, and no damn excuses. I'm Christian. I joined the United States Navy to be a combat medic. I trained with the Marine Corps. That's where I learned leadership. For the last 4 years, I've been a life coach at the Medical Man Cave, helping men confront stuff most men like to avoid. I'm a father now. I'm a husband. I've been through the fire of life. And I'm telling you, I don't have all the answers, but I've experienced a ton of it. I'm Ryan Herzog, Midwest kid turned Air Force combat controller. I've been through war zones, broken bones, and some of life's hardest battles on and off the battlefield. Today, I coach elite performers, athletes, operators, executives, using what I've learned through pain and grit and relentless growth. I'm a father, I'm a son, husband, a friend, and a mentor, and I'm still figuring it out just like you.
I mean, I've seen a lot, of experienced a lot. Now I'm the critter getter gone wild, man. I'm a firm believer in the good book. I went ahead and transitioned myself. I looked at increasing the girth. And now that I'm walking around with a Dr. Pepper can in my pants,
Oh yeah.
I met a lady. One thing led to another. Well, needless to say, I was making $800 an hour.
Something that I figured out was that I was polyamorous, meaning that I could have more than one love.
Men who are just so overly confident yet so crazy insecure that they're not going there and they're too good for that conversation.
Everybody goes and gets work done, guys and girls. Why is it that girls, it's okay, guys can't talk about it, or that they would, feel like they would be judged for it?
Okay, let's go relax. There we go.
Yeah, so we did this. We opened Topless Car Wash, and you couldn't see anything from the outside, obviously, the giant industrial tent. Long story short, we bought the property for $200,000, and we ended up selling that property back to Shell Oil for $1.5 million.
Look at that! Look at that flip.
Right.
Just the hard work to the flip.
Sometimes you got to take a risk and check things out and take that jump if you're going to make the gain in business. It's a different climate for men these days than it was in the past. And you need to have self-confidence in yourself, and you need to believe in yourself, and you need to behave properly.
That is
and
cut
you
down.
have to be able to say no to bad money.
Do you find that you spend more time finding more grace and giving more grace than you did in the past?
I'll point the finger on myself that I probably crushed my kid's confidence at times.
Whew.
I know what it takes, and I know what he was willing and was not willing to do, and that's what pissed me off. I think at times over the last 2-3 seasons, I've wanted this more for him than he's wanted it, and that's a problem. Truly, what is that motivation? Because I'm a believer that if you can define that, you might be able to go find it somewhere else in a much better place that can provide way more tools to equip you later on in life. But I know the mindset that I think has to be had, and I'm not so sure my son has that mindset right now. Have you asked him if this is what he wants to do?
I've always kind of just feared being a loser. You can sit around and feel sorry for yourself all you want, but that's not going to make you feel better. These kids now just they don't have any drive.
There's so many parents who are in this pursuit of being friends with their kids.
And then there's the sheepdogs, and I'm trying to teach my kids to be sheepdogs. Don't put up with the bullies, and don't be a sheep. Be a leader.
Here at the Everyday Alpha Podcast, we are all about connection. We want you to understand this is a spot for you to talk. This is a spot for you to ask questions.
We've created a safe space. We're going to talk about big picture ideas and issues.
Talk about family struggles, your marriage troubles, parenting, difficult seasons of life that we've all been through, and some of us just don't know where to have those conversations.
Let you talk about the things that are a challenge for you.
We can't wait for you to be a part of this community. The Everyday Alpha Podcast. Stay sharp, stand tall, take control.
Dude, that's awesome.
Nice. That's sexy.
We like you.
Likey lot.
So you like?
Yeah.
So it needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but we're almost there. I wish Tarjume's brother.
Yeah.
I wish that video was a little bit better.
Agreed.
I agree.
It's almost, I feel like almost taking it out because it just doesn't really look that great. But
And you
No, it
got
looks like
just the framing and all of that.
it's not good.
Yeah.
it's like half of his head, and then he comes in,
Oh,
and he's like right
I know.
there, and then he's back
I
out.
know. But I wanted to, so I mean, I feel like we're almost there. I'm going to go back, and I found some other photos of Christian at the office with some of the clients. Like you're sitting and you're having a conversation, and you had like a cocktail with one of them, and
Yeah.
some of those moments I want to, because there's some lagging time. There's parts where the energy needs to be it needs to be a little bit more momentum. And then there's a couple images of Ryan that I have that I want to incorporate. And then also, I'm not crazy about, as I mentioned previously, the hero shot when we have their, porn star or whatever, that polyamorous, that needs to be a little bit more clean because the guys all look like monsters. No disrespect. And then, but I think we're almost there. And I just getting back to, I know I've touched upon this before. You know, this is all a work in progress, but one important thing is, and you've heard me before, is when a guest is speaking, both of you need to be engaged at all times. Like the deadpan, just have to be, even if you have to force yourself to engage or look like you're engaged, even if
Okay.
you stand that person or you don't like what he says, just be engaged. And I also think that,
Randy, can I ask a question on that?
yeah,
I mean, what are your thoughts on like some body language, or do you want like I guess I want to get clear here. Is it the on video piece where like if Christian and I are like a fist bump or we're like clapping or we're smiling or we're like doing something, or is it a vocal piece that you want on the audio side as the engagement?
both of those things, because if we record it, I want to see you guys engaged or, really listening. Because a lot of times when someone's speaking, you're kind of just, all of us do this, but we're just sort of listening and not, we might be listening and engaged, but as a viewer, I don't see that.
Yeah.
So maybe just a little bit more, even if you have to put something on your computer, act engaged or just, you know, and a lot of times, we're thinking about what question we want to ask that person. And so we can see that thinking, that thought process. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
if you're going to ask me a question, you're thinking about that, which we all do, but just maybe write it down and just, yeah, uh-huh, right. Boom. I got
So
that.
let me ask you this. And it's funny because I'm a Google Meet guy with all of my video calls. I've always like 90% of the time done Google Meet. I never spent a ton of time with Zoom. I did some with Teams. But what's funny is on Google Meet, if I kind of engage myself with, oh yes, I totally understand, and let them go, it cuts them out. I don't know how Zoom is. Will Zoom allow our guests to keep talking with the engagement so it's simultaneously active, or is there a cutout? Do you
No,
know?
it doesn't. I think it depends, but every time I see you, if you talk or if you we definitely see that. Every time you speak, that's when I see you. That's when we see you. So
Yeah.
maybe, but
Yeah.
there's times where there's no there's nothing there's no energy in your face.
Yep.
I'm not saying anything negative. It's just we all do this. So just make it a point to really be cognizant of that you're always sort of engaging,
Right.
you
Right.
know? Um,
And it's
and
funny.
smiling.
I listened to, or I watched the video of this podcast that I had listened to when I was on vacation last week. And it was at a round table, and the host and the guest were kind of sitting at like 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, or maybe
Right.
like, 10 and 2. And there was this great, just kind of connection that you could see synergistically, even though there wasn't someone saying something and interrupting. And like, I totally see what you're saying and understand it. I'm just trying to figure out on this media, like, how do we do it without interrupting or, stepping on the guest when they're engaging or they're answering a question.
It can just be a smile or just your face, just act a little bit more engaged.
Okay.
That's all. Because like I was going back and trying to, cut this and make my notes, and there was just a lot of times that, you know, you guys were just I wasn't able to have the reactions. It's just something that obviously this is new, and this is, I mean, you guys are amazing, but that's just something, that's one thing. And then number two, Christian and I talked about, you know, guests. Don't ever have to worry about getting guests on the show. Don't, like Christian was saying, he doesn't know who to ask. And if when we start doing this and it's the real deal, we will have so many. I have people from all over the country that I can tap into, and they would love to be on this podcast. So don't even worry about that, number one. Number two, I think it's very important to, like we've done a couple times where, you know, like going forward, I'll have a conversation with the guests. I'll vet them. I'll let them know that, and we'll have like a sheet, like a one page, that which tells them exactly how to be prepared for their Zoom.
Mhm.
Blank background, the camera eye level, no light in the back, just so we can really produce the guests, number one. Number two, I think it's super important just to have questions. Obviously, you'll have your own questions, things will come up and you'll speak and it'll be authentic. But it's also good to have very specific questions on paper or on whatever, on your phone or whatever, that you can ask them, just so we really get the best out of each guest. Okay. Then also, you know, these things, once we get going, they'll be edited. So, we'll be able to take the dead space. We'll be able to take your reaction, maybe bring another reaction in. So there's a way to, kind of manipulate it, but it'll look authentic. That's another thing. Number two, music. Obviously, at the beginning, we'll have like a great music track, maybe something like this, where, we do an intro and maybe every other show, you each have the opportunity to give an intro. And, welcome to the Everyday Alpha podcast. And today's guest is, Chef Boyardee, and he's known for, making these beautiful soups and macaroni salads and but, just a really great introduction, and then maybe segues for commercial breaks, maybe the quotes or the metaphors. Maybe there's like a great sort of moment where there's like an amazing, piece of jingle or music when it comes to the metaphor. So definitely this is at the very beginning stages, and it's so healthy and important that everybody's getting experience to sort of get to know who we are on camera, get to know who we are as hosts, get to know how we interact, because you guys, this is in your your blood. This is in your repertoire. You guys engage and connect with people every day.
Yeah.
And naturally, that's what you do. This is what I do, in my life. But sometimes when, when we're in a setting where, we're having an interview and it's just, this is all new. But I think the more we've done these test runs, I think the better and better, everybody's getting. But I just think, just be cognizant of that. That's all,
Sure.
you know.
Absolutely.
Um, and then I feel like, you know, like going forward, we're gonna have to work. Like, I love your background, Christian. I love your background. It's great. But maybe we drop something back there, or eventually it'll be the same backgrounds,
Yeah.
we gotta wait on the same backgrounds. And then you know, we just wanna, and then maybe at some point, we have a graphic that flies in, or there's like a neon, we have like a signage in the back that says, Everyday Alpha. We have like a neon, you know, sign that maybe blinks, at the beginning,
Mhm.
or so there's a lot of creative things we can do going forward. But I feel like first and foremost, we have to obviously get our deal together. I'm gonna be able to wrap this sizzle reel. I'm hoping by midweek. I'm gonna be on the horn with Carol, who I'm working with. just to go over these tweaks, and I want to try to get it down a little bit, maybe just at 4 because it's a little over 4. Um, but I think we have some good stuff here, and I feel like it really shows who you guys are. Um, I want to get a bite in there which tells me what Ryan does, like his company, you know? Um,
There, Randy, today, I'm pretty sure it's funny because I was talking with Christian before you got on, and there was a part where I was about to talk about my client that's coming after this Zoom, and I kind of went back and almost like very briefly reintroduced what I did.
oh, I
You
love
you,
that.
you may want to grab that because that might be a good one.
Because this, both of you guys today look really great. You guys look refreshed. Um,
Oh, I'm glad you think so. I feel like I haven't slept in 5 days,
yeah,
but thanks. Thanks
I
for
hear
saying.
you there, but doesn't show. Um, but I think, you know, look, things do take time. Nothing happens overnight, as we all know. And I really want to make sure that whatever we send out is a really important and um, amazing and authentic representation of who you guys are in a very professional way.
Yeah.
And obviously, we don't have all the bells and whistles now, but it'll at least give people the sense of what this is all about and how it's fresh. And you guys aren't celebrities, but that's okay. You guys have life experience and you guys are walking the walk and empowering people and nurturing and in addition to running these companies and raising a family and being a good partner and being a great parent and you know I think everyone can learn from that, so we're on a great track. I feel really positive about the deck we have, which you guys have seen. I actually
Yep.
love that deck. I think that's super impressive. I feel like the sizzle's almost there. I just want to really like the red. I want to make it a little bit more vibrant. Even if I have to work with this Carol that I'm working with, who's great, but maybe I'm just gonna, finish up with her, and then maybe I'll send it to a buddy of mine, Monday, and just have him sort of look it over and maybe just tweak it again. But we're really close to being able to take it out on the market.
Cool. That's exciting. That's like really exciting.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, it's like it's the kind of thing that we have to continue to be humble, patient, and really know that we just want to continue to be the best we can be. And we're all learning, and every day, growing and engaging more and continue to be present like you guys are. But I think we have the ingredients to, continue to make something very special.
No, I
You know,
agree.
one thing I'll say, it's interesting. I was thinking about this today with Christian because Christian and I did, I think, one or two previous podcasts with him and I. The one that Christian and I did, we talked about like those tips at the end, the 6 takeaways. And then him and I have had some phone combos. And what's interesting is like I don't know if it's just the ignorance or just the newness of this. The biggest thing I'm still trying to navigate and work through is when I like even this morning with my morning clients and then the client I'm going to have after this and the client I had yesterday on a phone call. I'm still not bringing that full version, if that makes sense,
No.
to these podcasts. And I don't know what it is. It's like I can't figure out the disconnect. It's almost as if there's still a natural feeling about maybe it's just the video format. Maybe it's the sitting down in the basement. Like I don't love my office down here, but like there's something that's still missing for me where I'm not pulling that true coach or consultant that I do when I is like in literally at 12:35 when he rolls up, like I just transition and I get into this like I mean, everyone calls me coach, but like Coach Herzog mode. And for some reason, it doesn't feel the same. And it certainly doesn't feel as natural when I'm on these.
I have an idea for you. A couple things. Number two, maybe you put a monitor in your office, some sort of monitor, which, you can see the guests. Maybe that's something. I know you see them here. Maybe there's like a monitor, but also maybe there's some things that some notes or some like buzzwords or some things that you already know, but if you put them maybe on your whiteboard in front of you, like just things that you start incorporating into the podcast that really show who you are. A lot of times it's like we want to incorporate maybe a new word within our conversations, or we learn something new about ourselves or about something else that we want to share. Maybe there's just like have a whiteboard that's close by where you can jot down some of that stuff and you can just not read it, but just
Glance and just
glance
have
at
it
it,
there.
you
Yeah.
know? And maybe there's some things like today, with your other client, make note of it and then put it on that whiteboard and just have that in front of you. And maybe if there's a monitor, or maybe if you're whatever you're like, if you like, you know, TikTok videos or YouTube videos, or there's things that you like that energize you, or sports, maybe you have that on, visually in the background. Maybe you're looking at something. Maybe, there's ways to make you feel like you're not all alone. I get that feeling, and I think it's just a matter of time. And maybe one day the two of you guys are in the same space. You know,
Yeah, I think that is, to me, that's where I almost want to launch one of those soon, Christian, because
Yeah.
I think that might be it. I mean, again, 100% of when I'm in my professional space, I'm either with a client or a lot of clients or a group or a team, and there's the energy of the people in that space that, like, it's fucking me in my basement. I'm
I
I
mean,
just don't feel the same. And Christian, I mean, you got to feel that way, right? Like when you have a client at
Yeah.
the office or at the man cave, like, and you were doing a consult, doesn't this feel very different when we have a guest on?
No, actually, it does not. When we have a guest on, it's very familiar because I feel almost like I'm back into consult mode. I mean, it's Q&A, right?
and al-
Um, you
also,
know,
sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
I think in Christian's defense, we spent almost a year working on this other show together.
Yeah.
I interviewed him so much. And, I would always say, more energy. Christian, you're using your hands too much. I mean, we spent a lot of time together, Christian.
We
Christian got a
did.
bunch of fucking private coaching, is what happened.
No, no, but my point is, it's just, you guys are both naturals, but, you know, Christian was on camera a ton for that Medical Man Cave show. And he was the star of that show, by the way.
I'm surprised you haven't used some of that and chopped some of that out for this here.
Well, unfortunately, in every piece of video, you have like six schlongs in front of you.
So,
Well, we have this size, or you could be this size, or you could be that size, or you could
I
be
mean, there
this
were some
size.
times I didn't have dicks in my hand. There was times.
It's
Oh,
such a shame.
Hey, I got a question on that regard. So, Rich got a call from a producer who was asking him about the Medical Man Cave show, and Rich was like, "Is that from Randy? Did Randy send someone to me?" I'm like, "Rich, I have no idea. Give me his name." He hasn't given me the name yet. I'll give it to
Well,
you.
find out.
Yeah,
You know
I
why?
will.
'Cause maybe it's someone trying to, because we went to Bravo, Oxygen, Lifetime, um, Max, Discovery. We pitched wide. And
Okay.
everybody Who was my partner? on
What
that?
what's the feedback? What are you getting?
You know, it's really weird. I'm trying to think who I partnered with on this. Oh, you know what?
Well,
I
we got
pitched
great feedback, Ryan. I mean, like everybody loved it. But Randy, tell them what everybody said. There's not enough female
everyone,
drama.
well, that, but also everyone loved the cast. The cast was exceptional, you know. Um, I mean, the best cast member was Murtaj May's son. He was just unbelievable. And his girlfriend was just so, you know, I'm kidding. But no, everybody loved, they loved Christian. They loved Mr. Military Dude, who
Gary
was
Timms.
actually, you know what? Gary Timms was not on this. I'm going to replace
Yeah, yeah.
Gary
He needs to
with,
be on that.
yeah, I'm going to replace Gary with that other guy.
Rich with Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
although
got to
I
get
love
Gary
Rich.
Timms in there.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But everyone loved the idea. And but they just their whole thing was they're not able to show that on camera. Like they wanted to, because the whole thing was actually, have you seen the sizzle, by the way? Do you have time, Ryan?
Yeah, give me 30 or a minute. I'll be right back. We gotta take a leak.
Are you gonna pull up the man cave sizzle?
Yeah,
Dude, it's so good.
it's so good.
Dude, it's so good. I just texted Rich to see if he can send me because
find out.
he asked me. He goes, I said, send me the information because he said, ask Randy if Randy knows what this is all about. It's in the beginning of this, and all this has been recorded, but I just found out today that I'm now 100% disabled through the VA.
What?
Yeah, no, that's a good thing.
But why though?
You've never seen me physically. My back is jacked up. I have dropped foot. I have a foot that, like, if you ask me today, would you like to deal with the pain in your foot or would you rather have it amputated? I might move toward amputation. It's that bad. Yeah. 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 My left foot right now doesn't hurt because I haven't been standing on it, but I can only stand for about 5 to 10 minutes prolonged, like flat footed or in a pair of flip flops. For me to walk, I have to put on a really big ankle brace, thick sock, and then a high top shoe, boot, whatever it is, and then lace it and cinch it up real tight to support my foot. Otherwise, it hurts like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 all
I'm so
the
sorry.
time. Yeah.
Do you limp?
I do limp. Yeah. If now with all that on, it's hard to notice that I limp because I have this drop foot condition. But without all that, I just drag my left foot around. I limp. It's jacked up my back. My hips are jacked up. I mean, it's all connected, right?
How tall are you?
6'5".
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm 6'10".
Yeah, you aren't.
Okay. Guys.
Oh yeah, check this out, Ryan. This is really freaking cool.
This is okay.
Continue.
You remember Richard Gere?
Yeah.
Pretty Woman?
Oh yeah. That's Jess's favorite movie.
Love that film.
I hate that movie, but keep going.
That movie, by the way, was filmed like 5 minutes from my house.
Oh, that's cool.
Hotel, the Regent Beverly Wilshire. Okay. Can you see that?
Yep.
Move it to your right. Move it to your right.
My left, you mean?
Oh, your left. There you go. Yeah, right there.
See that? Okay.
Yep.
So we have Richard Gere here. Oh, shit. This guy's, by the way, the bomb. This guy is so great. Except Christian could not make this happen for our podcast. I'm joking, but okay. Shit.
Wasn't like desired by her, so I knew I had to do something.
Oh my God. I just heard that voice.
You dated her, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, you ready, Ryan?
Yeah.
Sex
was had died off, man. It wasn't like desired by her. So I knew I had to do something to change it.
I don't care if a man is a neurosurgeon. If his penis is small, he's never going to feel adequate. If this is something that bothers you, you have the right to go fix it.
When these guys come in the first words out of my mouth are, ready to get your dick bigger?
I'm making sure there are no kids around. Hi there, my name is Marisha Motarjani. We live in Denver, Colorado.
Spent a long time trying to figure out what the next need was for medicine.
You said we need a one-stop shop for men to regain their confidence or find it for the first time.
What about medical maintain?
A man in a woman's body. Even though I've got 36 or 38 double Ds right now.
We have 5 total medical man caves across the United States.
We are reshaping men in the most intimate and vulnerable way.
Erectile dysfunction work.
Circumcision, weight loss, liposuction,
Anal bleaching.
man boobs. Did I get man boobs?
We have hair transplant.
We fixed your botch job. You went to Turkey? We fixed that.
We do a ton of Botox.
Injecting Botox into their actual scrotum. Ultimately, what really drives a man in here, they want their dick to be huge.
I can get you to 5 1/4. And if you do a second procedure, that's what we're going to do. And they go, here's your credit card.
Who are you going to talk to about the vulnerability of your manhood? They tell me everything.
They talk about what worries them with their wives, their girlfriends, where they feel inadequate. It offers incredible insight to the male psyche.
18-year-old woman told him he wasn't big enough, to a guy that just wants to give his wife a present.
I suffer from fibroids. I didn't want to have sex.
I'm going to be 47, radio 64. He swears he was going to fly to Las Vegas and be with Carrie Underwood.
It'll be a giant freaking shit show. Couples fighting, wife accusing him of cheating, saying that she'll file for divorce. I know what you did. You'll be there during the procedures while they're fully conscious.
We are injecting through microdermal injections.
And nobody like needles, especially near your pecker. You give them a hug, and then I say, you want to do a shot? Well, I get out of here. I love my patients, so I have to do a shot with them. I had 8 consults back to back to back. It was drunk. I was fucked up.
When I came in, she said, "Hey, babe, how'd your appointment go?" I said, "Oh, it went great." And I dropped my pants.
It was magnificent. It's just great and fabulous. I'm proud of them all. But you cannot have sex for 30 days.
You went and solicited a prostitute. Oh my gosh, we have this nasty infection.
You could see the inside of the penis.
How are we going to handle this? We might get sued too. The day after he got let out of prison for murder,
And they come out and the first thing they want is a bigger penis.
he had inserted ball bearings. See, like your own little personal French tickler. Look at you.
But behind the scenes in the office, shit gets wild. But I do a lot of the stuff the rich bitches do.
As a straight white male, I've probably touched more penises than many women out there.
Steve and I turned 60 this summer. We are going to go get facelifts together. And we've got the office romance with some Tarjamays, son Caden moving in with hair tech Lindsay, got Gary and Joanna.
One of my stepsons tells me all the time there ain't a dollar amount in the world that you can pay him to touch another man's dick. Well, I beg to differ.
And then we have blind dating adventures with our patients. She's beautiful and crazy.
I'll never forget the first time with my chick after I got the procedure done. It was like one after another. She's like, no, more. And I was like, more?
Heterosexual, homosexual, transitioning people. We take care of everybody. We don't judge. This is all about happiness.
Instant confidence booster for me, man. The sex is always there.
A man confident in bed is definitely a man I want to be with.
My wife has no idea. No. You better get that camera rolling, boy. She's going to punch me in the face. She won't divorce me, though.
That's
No.
awesome. I was talking with Zach just yesterday. I'm actually getting one of my cars repaired. He's going to help me do shocks and struts, and he's like, we're always still talking. So Randy, we can get him on. I mean, we can get him to just rip off. You know, we just
He's so
gotta
good.
find the time. He's awesome.
Is that the
What do you
one
think,
with the
Ryan?
shades on?
Yeah, that's Zach Biondi. I've tried to have him on this before, and we just, you know, he's like, yeah, I'll be there, and then he flaked out one of the times when just you and I were talking. So, you
What do
know,
you
I'm
think,
just
Ryan?
That was good. Is that a sizzle though? That seems long.
It was a long
It's a
sizzle.
little, it's a long sizzle.
Okay.
We had a shorter version too.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's a
like
lot. It's a lot.
I could see why some shows are like we can't go there, but I'm surprised that there aren't some that are going, oh, this is exactly what we want to grab a hold of and launch. Well,
Yeah.
like that's interesting.
Bravo
Okay.
loved it, and they definitely, were considering it. Um, I mean, everybody loved the characters and they loved the world, and um, it was very positive. I just, unfortunately, they just got scared.
Hmm.
Yep.
But I think the characters were really great, and I think that, I mean, Christian I thought, did a stellar job, just being able to kind of be the consistent voice. And because of Christian, you know, we were able to get that done because, to get anybody else on camera was pulling teeth. It
That's
really
what you
was,
said.
Yeah, it was hard.
and the Matarjames, I mean, to get that interview with, you know, uh, Marisha, you know, it just took a long time. And finally, she was at the country club and drinking cocktails. He dropped her off,
Yeah.
and I was able to get that interview from her. But I thought
Is
she was really, what?
is she like that? Is that her normal or was that her stage?
She is like that in social settings. She turns that on. But she's not like that, like when she has to be on, that's her. So
Okay.
that's not her personality. Like if you were just to meet her, um, she's just not that social, but she's great when she's on.
She can be. Looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she seems really fun. And, you know, I mean, they were all very nice. And, she was adorable with me, but, obviously I didn't know her as well as Christian.
Okay.
So, um, you saw the one I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah,
I
you
should
showed it to me. I don't know if Ryan's seen it.
No, what you got?
You want to see?
Yeah.
That's fine. So this is the one that I'm very close. I actually have a network that we're negotiating with right now. Um, okay, so this is very it's extremely the subject matter. Okay. So this is
I got a hard stop at 12:30. I got to get upstairs and get prepped for this client. So
okay. Do you want to see just a little bit of it?
yeah, yeah.
We were having a hard time with our son. He was arrested. He was using drugs
To the
and
right.
he was tearing our family apart. Our daughter was headed for trouble, and we knew we had to do something.
Hello, my name is Jeff Brain. I'm the Dean of Admissions and a therapist at the Family Foundation School. I'm glad that you joined us and the parents who have made the decision to enroll their son or daughter at the school.
You can feel good about sending your child there because you can trust that your child is safe. Oh, oh, oh. Family Foundation School is a very different kind of therapeutic boarding school. The students live together in family groups, together with staff and teachers. They get to know each other and they participate as a family.
The story of the Family Foundation School is a story of hope. I just try to think of all the people whose lives were ruined by the family school.
I went to a boarding school that was run by sex addicts, drug addicts, and criminals. These people really knew
to control you. Sleep deprivation, the food control.
You had the staff abusing you physically, abusing you mentally.
I was brutally tortured. Typical restraint procedures were wrapping kids up in duct tape and blankets, often done in front of all other students to show what will happen if you act out. Staff punching students in the face. They were locking kids in isolation.
Raping girls, tortured. You're treated worse than animals in a shelter. The priest was sexually assaulting people.
A student jumped from the balcony and he committed suicide.
I will never forget the noise of his head making contact.
I think it was around 2015 when you started to piece it all together.
Cool.
Dozens of friends from the Family Foundation School. Like our death count is abnormally high.
I'll make you sad about
There were over 100 alumni dead. Drug overdoses, suicides. Basically, there was no education at this place, no therapy, no help. They were to work or be isolated.
I worked 12, 16 hours a day.
They didn't hire teachers that were normal teachers. They hired all criminals. There's 2 staff who committed murders when they left. Paul Gear was our choir director, and he was an admitted sex addict. There was a female form, and Paul lived upstairs. The kind of lived upstairs. All of the parents, not realizing what was going on.
Ma, this is my chance to tell you that it's not what it's cracked up to be.
And of course, the parents wouldn't believe us because they told our parents that we were going to lie about what was happening there.
Some kids would try to escape, but the school's in the middle of nowhere. And even if you did get out, half the town worked for the school and they would just turn you in.
John Martin Crawford was a good friend of mine there. He was the one that got the family school shut down.
And 7 years after testifying for us, John killed himself.
Of our social media, we're crying out, wake up the authorities to wake up.
I actually gave the FBI an ultimatum. And if you don't bring these people to justice, I will.
Department of Justice announced the indictment of a former teacher. The longtime choir director will stand trial on 6 federal charges. 6 charges of sex abuse against minors.
As the investigation continues, I have no doubt that there will be more people indicted.
I feel like I'm talking about the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. But you know how this movie ends? With justice.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow. That's going to be a show.
Yeah, it is.
I interviewed 60 former students, teachers, and parents, 60 of them. I have about 5,000 pieces of IP from yearbooks and diaries. And it all started, this woman gave me her diary and it sat on my nightstand. And I finally, had the guts to read it. And it just blew me away. And this is nothing. The stories, there's more stories. I've interviewed so many people since this.
How hard has it been for you to not drag that around?
It's been emotionally challenging, but I really like these people and I want to find closure. I know you got to go, Ryan.
Yeah, that is intense.
So,
Herzog, holler at me when you're done.
Jess will be coming in with the kids when I'm done. So, and I got to do dinner tonight. So I got to prep dinner before she gets home.
What are you doing for dinner?
I'm doing Indian curry, tofu, vegetable bowls.
Sounds good. Have a good time.
We found these new Indian canned sauces at Whole Foods that are insane. Like we do a lot of Indian and like it's a hard dish to make, very authentic. these canned jars of, there's like probably 6 different styles of curries and tikka masala. They're unbelievable. And I'm like, they're so damn good. I'm not making it from scratch. We do everything else from scratch. We just use those canned jars of the sauce. They're unbelievable.
What's the name of the company?
I'll send it to the thread we have. I'll go upstairs and take a picture of it. They're delicious.
Sounds good. Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Before I forget, Randy, stay away from those glitter bombs out there.
What do you mean?
What are the glitter bombs?
You don't know about those glitter bombs all over LA?
No.
I know there's these crazy riots that happen all over LA. I have no idea what's going on though.
Just Google the glitter bomb situation. Like I just learned about it a couple days ago from some buddies. It's mind blowing, and now they know why they're using the glitter bombs. It's crazy. It's crazy. So read up on it. Tell me what you think next time we chat. Boys, awesome. Good chatting. Great to see you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
Peace out.
All right. See ya.
Bye. Christian, stay on.
Yep.
So we can talk about Ryan.
Yep. Talk behind his back.
Okay.
Behind his screen.
Yeah, no, I got that. I had this meeting with Hulu, so I'm glad that I was able to see you guys. So
yeah, no, I'm glad you jumped on. You'll like what we were talking about when you go back and listen to this, and you'll be able to grab some good nuggets of Ryan and me talking. It was a good, 30 minutes of chat.
Okay. I'm so sorry about your foot.
It's life. It is what it is, Hey, I always look for silver linings, right? When I hurt my back, it took me almost a full year to rehab the muscles in my butt, my glute muscles, my quad muscles, my calf muscle. It took me a long time to rehab it all, but my golf game got better. And my golf game got better once I rehabbed my core and my back and I could turn and everything. My golf game got better because my whole left side of my body stays real quiet in a golf swing. And when that happens, I started hitting really straight golf shots, where in the past I used to hit these, big whatever. So I always try and just take a good silver lining from a shitty moment, but I can't run unless I'm being chased, and then I can kind of gallop away, but I can't run like I used to. It's hard to do fitness other than just lifting. I can lift, not a big deal, and I do a lot of that. But there's a lot of things that I just can't do. I can't go on really good quality like hikes in the mountains. I can't walk a golf course anymore. So I always have to ride in a cart. But fine, and I can do some walking around the golf course because like I said, I'm wearing an ankle brace and high top golf shoes, and I've got it all locked in. But, I got to gobble down some pain relievers, and I got to prep for certain things just to be able to be active. And it sucks. And, I've thrown around more or less for just kind of like reaction value with my wife and my kids, like thinking about just amputating it, like right below the knee, and just saying fuck it, and then put just put a friend of mine, a really 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 close friend of mine. He just had his leg amputated, his right leg amputated right below the knee, because he has had MRSA living in his body for the last 30-some years, and they just his foot never ever healed through multiple surgeries. And they basically said, listen, if we don't remove this leg, you're going to die.
God forbid.
And he had it amputated, and his life has completely changed. He has no pain. He can walk. He can run with that new, whatever you call it, the piece. I'm losing the right terminology, but he plays golf now. Prosthetic. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, he's happy.
I have a question for you, and I'm sure you're beyond this, but they have this place by me, and it's Chinese, and they do foot massage, but it is so unbelievable what they do. And I know that we carry a lot of tension in our feet, but they get in there and they just can you do that? Have you ever had a foot massage?
I've done so many things. What I'm doing with the doc that I'm working with now is we're going to start working on stem cells, like injecting stem cells. See, my biggest problem is the nerve that comes out of my back that runs down through my butt, along my leg, down to my big toe. was damaged at my back. And what we know about nerve regeneration is your nerves will regenerate. They'll come back, and they grow about as fast as your fingernails grow. But they only do it for about 2 years, and then they just kind of stop. Well, I'm 6'5", and so for it to go from my back all the way down to my big toe, my nerve regenerated all the way down to about the back of my knee. And that's it. And so can we go back and still try to reinnovate that nerve? Can we go back and try and re-recruit those micro muscles that have all gone atrophy? Can we do that? Maybe. And we can do ozone therapy, and we can do IV stem cells, and we can do, there's other things that we can try and do, and we're going to try and do. Can we electrically stimulate? The answer is yes. And are we going to try and go down that road? Yes, we are. Will the VA go down that road? No, it will not. That's what the VA does. They don't go down that road. They just give you money. Now, if I approached the VA and I said, I'm in so much pain and all the things that you guys have offered me aren't cutting it, I want you to amputate this thing and I want you to make an awesome prosthetic for me, they would probably go, okay. And they would do that. But I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. You want to hear one story and then I'll let you.
I do.
So, do you know who Richard Leakey is?
Richard Leakey. Give me some context.
Paleontologist.
Okay. I love paleontologists. I'm a big fan of that profession.
From South Africa.
Okay.
And he's a major, if you look up Richard Leakey, he's huge.
Okay. Like Horner?
Pardon?
Do you know who Bob Horner is, the big?
I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Out
of Montana.
So Richard Leakey is a big deal. And when I worked for Paramount, I ended up going from the motion picture group to working for this woman that had a deal with Paramount. And her ex-husband was John Peters. You know John Peters. So Batman, he dated Barbara Streisand. The movie Shampoo was filmed. Okay. He ran Sony Pictures. Peter. Okay. Anyway, this is sad. I'm just learning that he passed away. But anyway, he was a conservationist, a politician. He held a number of official positions in Kenya. Wildlife conservationist. Anyway, the bottom line is we had a film, or Peters had a film called Africa, and it was all about Richard Leakey. So Leakey was in a helicopter crash and lost his legs. And when he was coming out to LA, and we spent a lot of time with him, and we went on all these speaking engagements. We were up in Santa Barbara together, and we ended up paying for new prosthetics for his legs.
Wow.
Raised the money and bought him new legs.
That's awesome.
The whole thing, and he was so gracious and appreciative. And, but I got to know him, and he was a really interesting, dynamic man. And, I had no idea he just passed away. So,
good story though. You got the full Lieutenant Dan experience.
Yeah.
If you understand that reference.
I don't.
Forrest Gump.
Oh God. That was part of my, when I worked at Paramount during that time before you were born. That was one of our films.
Forrest Gump is one of the classic great movies. You have to watch it today. If you watch Forrest Gump today, you really have to go into the mindset of who is Forrest Gump, and you really have to, if you can immerse yourself into how he sees the world. It is a profoundly well done story. I think Tom Hanks did a fantastic job. Jenny, you want to talk about a horrible, horrible villain? I mean, she is a villain, but I love that movie. I love Forrest Gump.
Maybe I'll watch it this weekend. I went to the premiere of that film. I had a box of chocolates, Forrest Gump chocolates. Probably threw him out. But um, Michelle Manning was the creative executive on Forrest Gump.
Uh,
Each so when you if you watch The Studio, which is a show on Apple right now, the studio is very representative of a motion picture group at a studio. You're basically the creme de la creme of the entire studio.
okay.
You're responsible for making and developing all the films. And so each executive, they take pitches, they develop, and they have a slate of films. So I ended up working for John Goldwyn, um,
Like Golden Mayer.
Golden Mayer,
Okay.
the son, and then the brother, John's Tony Goldwyn is a huge actor, but John was president of Paramount at the time. I worked with him, and then I ended up working with an executive, and we developed Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
Braveheart,
Braveheart. Wow.
Braveheart. Um, uh, so Mission Impossible, Braveheart, Brady Bunch 1 and 2, Eye for an Eye, um, and a bunch of other films. But it was just interesting to see like Tom Cruise working with his company and really getting to know these people and the develop I mean Forrest Gump took 15 years before
Yeah.
they were able to get it on screen.
Right, right. Because if you read the book, it's not a book that you're going to be like, oh yeah, we want all that content because the book it's written from like almost have you read the book?
No.
Oh, dude. It is not a book that you would say, hey man, go check out Forrest Gump and read it in today's climate. How about
Okay.
that? Yeah.
I'll
But
check it out.
it's a good read, but I mean, they definitely like always Hollywood, when you have a book and you make a movie at it, it's loosely based. How about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that insight because I definitely want to check it out again. So
Um
Ryan
uh,
seemed good, by the way. No?
what's that?
Ryan seemed okay or
Yeah, no, he's great. He was on vacation with his wife. They're such a cool couple. So every year for their anniversary, they take a week and they go to a different state.
yeah.
And so this year they picked Kentucky.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it wasn't great.
Well, there's a lot of drugs. I mean, I'm generalizing, but just from my experience with um, you know, just Louisville, with
Yeah, that's kind of where they were.
that's not good.
So we were talking and I made the statement that America says it's a first world country, but we have more third world problems within our states than anywhere you can find in the world. I mean, there are states out there with cities and towns that are as destitute as Belize, where I
Yeah.
was a couple weeks ago, and that's this one of the saddest parts about the United States of America, you know. He's like, we experienced it. He goes, it was terrible.
I'm so sorry.
You never know. You
Did
don't
he
know until you
take
know.
did he take the kids?
No, so they never take their kids. They drop the kids off with the in-laws, and then they, go do their thing. So, but yeah, this year was Kentucky, and they're like, yeah, we're not going back there anytime soon. Like, I'm sorry, bro, that sucked. I'm going to Vegas actually, July 5th to the 8th.
For what?
A buddy, Rich, is his birthday, and so we're gonna go out there and hang out. So my wife and I are gonna show up Saturday, and we're gonna leave. I guess it's Tuesday, Saturday to Tuesday. Come on out.
You're sweet. Is Steve going to be there?
Hell no,
What do you mean?
no way.
It's his brother.
Steve doesn't give a fuck. It's all about Steve. Steve doesn't reciprocate socially. It's not who he is.
Really?
Yeah, it's not who he is. If it's
Will
not
the
about
son be,
Steve, he's not going to be doing it.
will the son be there? Because you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. Well, just I'll talk to you before then, but
Yeah,
I feel good and just I don't know, just want you guys to be happy.
yeah, no, we're good. We're really good. like I said, listen to this whole thing. I'll get it on the Dropbox and on YouTube, and then grab that. But yeah, get some Gary Timms into that. That sizzle. Maybe just shorten Rich and then get a bunch more
Yeah,
Gary.
maybe I'll do that. I'll shorten him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All
nice.
right.
I'm sorry about you. Now you're making me feel really bad.
About my foot?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I play golf every Sunday. Don't feel bad about me. I still get out and I'm still living a good life. Yeah.
I know.
It's just an annoyance.
Okay, well, just hang in there, okay?
Copy. Talk to you later.
Good seeing you. Bye.
Yeah,
Take
you
care.
too. Bye.